The match we've all been waiting for, the match that's been rumored to happen for months now, is now finally official. John Cena will take on Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship at Summerslam on August 21st. Presumably, this is going to be the main event of the show, and this feud is the most important story WWE is about to tell in years, in my opinion. Ever since Roman Reigns has changed his character, I believe this is what will further cement him as the top guy. We're gonna get into that in a bit, but I want to compare John Cena and Roman Reigns' career. I see a lot of comparisons made between John Cena and Roman Reigns, and rightfully so. Each man is their generation's top star. In this video, we're gonna juxtapose both stars' career, and at the end of the video, we'll see who's had the better career up to this point. One of the most important skills in pro wrestling is being able to cut a strong promo and make people believe that what they're seeing is as vicious and as personal as you make it out to be. The emotional connection is arguably more important than anything physical you do. For John Cena, the promos come naturally. He has that gift on the mic to be able to get intense and make you believe in what he's saying. If we're linking it back to Roman Reigns, he destroyed him in 2017. He mixed in his super babyface persona with the subtle little disses which made everything feel more real. Things like recognizing Roman Reigns' struggle to grab WWE's mantle or him being disliked by the crowd. Everything just made it feel so much real, and it's that realism that's missing in WWE nowadays. Honestly, the promos are pretty formulaic in recent years, but he brings this fire that very few people can. It just doesn't feel forced. You actually believe that this is what the character is about. It goes further than just his promos against Roman. Cena has always had the gift to talk on the mic. When he was the doctor of thugonomics, coming up with things to say wasn't a problem for him at all. On the other end, you have Roman Reigns. One thing to keep in mind is I mentioned the doctor of thugonomics. That was a different time where you could say a little bit more inappropriate things, and in turn, it would help you get over, as the audience would say. The audience would be able to see your abilities on the mic, if you had any. For Roman, he's been fed some pretty dumb things like the suffering succotash son that we all remember. But recently, he's gotten so much better. Ever since turning heel, the belief is there. He works better as a heel than he does babyface. So when he has that slow delivery in his promos, it makes it more believable that he's just this natural douchebag. Recently he's been killing it, but it's not something that came naturally to him, and honestly he's just not a promo guy. The only thing now is that they were so bad in years previous that anything seems good now, and it just works for his character. So for mic skills overall in their career, I'm giving it to John Cena. Alongside mic skills, your character is what makes it. Roman Reigns tried to be a babyface for the longest time, and it just didn't work. It felt like forever, and they just kept running with it to the point where we were just like, alright, whatever. Whereas Cena was liked a ton for the majority of his career. Only recently has Roman Reigns started to become liked by the wrestling community, and why that is because of his change of character. This is what everyone's wanted the whole time. Pushing Roman Reigns as an underdog just didn't work. It wasn't believable, but ever since SummerSlam 2020 and his heel turn, it's become so much more believable and so much more palatable, if that makes sense. Since then, Roman Reigns' character has been the head of the table, a do everything to win heel who will use his family to his benefit. It's been a complete 180 from the big dog, which wasn't much of a character in the first place. Since then, he's added a few subtle little changes to his repertoire. The addition of Paul Heyman has been fantastic. The 3-minute entrance, well, it does kill the vibe for me. It works because he's a heel. And having the Usos fight his battles for him is great, and it ties into the family connection. For John Cena, the character is the do no wrong babyface. And I don't know if it's just me, I'm gonna be honest here, it doesn't feel like in 2021, Cena's got much of a character really. For most of us, it's just a nostalgia act. Like, he had a character in years previous, but since his return, it's basically been old veteran here to show that he's still the top guy. The Doctor of Thugonomics was amazing back in the day, but after that, it became pretty formulaic and it appealed to the demographics Cena was supposed to. Honestly, this one is really tough. I'm gonna project here a little bit into the future, but I'm gonna give this one to Roman Reigns in the year 2021. I think there's so much more to tap into with the Tribal Chief character in months to come. I think he needs to become even more vicious, even more egotistical, and give us the first true heel we've seen in years. The next element I want to look at is the in-ring work. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because both of them are big powerhouses who have a decently limited moveset. Like, they're not going to be doing 450s off the top rope, but it shouldn't be any other way. But I will say that Roman Reigns fits much better into his moveset and ring work now that he's a heel. If you notice Roman Reigns matches, he'll hit a couple moves, then slowly circle around the ring calculating his next move, which works perfectly for him. John Cena, on the other hand, has his few moves, and really there's nothing to dissect here. Like, we've seen it for 20 years now. But the criteria here is which moveset works better for their character right now and overall. And you can transfer Cena's moveset onto most people his size and it'll work. But in 2021, I think Roman Reigns' just works better for him. He's always had those same moves and I think they mesh perfectly with the Tribal Chief character. The additions of the guillotine hold and the low blow kickout have also been brilliant. The last category we're going to look at is a bunch of things lumped into one, and that is longevity, marketability, and how they've performed in the grand scheme of WWE and the outside world. One thing that people may comment on this video is you can't compare Roman and Cena's career because Roman's isn't done yet. To that, I would say you can. When Cena was 7 years into his career like Roman Reigns is in 2009, the You Can't See Me was recognized globally. Cena was literally the franchise. He was doing TV shows, he was the poster child, he was the one appealing to the kids, and he was most definitely the top star in the company. With Roman, it's harder to market a bad guy to the younger kids. So crossover appeal and marketability isn't the same as Cena's was at the same point in his career. If we're tying it back to the wrestling sphere for a second, each star needs their counterpart. Each hero needs their villain. And that hero or villain needs to be equivalent to who they're facing. Cena had so many guys who were in Roman's position, so Cena could continue pushing his babyface stock forward. Does that kind of make sense what I'm getting at? Basically, there were other people who played the bad guy, so Cena didn't have to. So since WWE is marketing Roman Reigns as a heel and their top star, yeah, he has an appeal because he was a good guy a few years back and he wins a lot, but it's an odd situation. For Cena, it was Randy, or Edge, or HBK, or Triple H, or Brock. For Roman, he doesn't have that counterpart in the WWE, and it's a huge problem. There is no equivalent for him. He far exceeds any other full-time superstar's star power that there's no one you can legitimately say has the babyface power to overcome a heel everyone wants to lose. There's no solid foundation, and that's because WWE has done a horrible job at supplanting stars like Edge, Orton, Lesnar, HBK, Triple H, Batista, Jericho. You really can't name equivalents to these stars in WWE today. So for overall marketability, we gotta go back a little here, but it's Cena. Cena is the man who carried WWE, and now that there's another guy in his shoes, you can really see the contrast in the times. And it's really not Roman Reigns' fault. The product and overall appeal of wrestling just is not the same. So that one has to go to John Cena. The last thing I want to compare is longevity. There's certain times where you can pull a rabbit out of the hat and things work for you, but then people get sick and tired of the same old, same old. The perfect example is John Cena. There was a time where his character had gotten so stale that people were yearning for a change. But Cena made it work. He adapted and he kept everything that made him him. And one thing to keep in mind was his main audience that he was catering to were children. So he had to keep doing what he was doing. For Roman, Cena said it on SmackDown. he has to change his character every few years because people stop caring. That's somewhat true, but somewhat false. It's true in the sense that wrestling fans have more of a voice than they did back when Cena was the man, and their patience with stars is a lot thinner. Just look at how they rejected Roman when he was fast-tracked in 2015. But it's false in the sense that Roman is the reason they stopped caring. That's not true. There were points where you could say that people stopped caring about Cena too. He was just there. It's this weird dynamic in WWE, which I can simply describe as fans will never be satisfied. Everybody wants it their way. This category is actually hard to rank because you never know, Roman Reigns still has a way to go, but I'm gonna give it to Cena because of just how much he did for this company, his overall work ethic, the make-a-wishes, the promotion. Even to this day, he is still the brand. But it's also a different time and different characters. Cena takes it for me, but hey, you never know. Roman still has The Rock to face, and that's gonna bring a ton of eyes to him and the WWE. He still has so many more feuds, titles, and accomplishments to go, but at this point in 2021, John Cena has the much better career, and frankly, that is not debatable. You could tell in this video I was looking for every opportunity to give Roman Reigns points because Cena simply would have ran away in pretty much every single category. I say it all the time, say John Cena to someone random, this logo or face springs to mind. Say Roman Reigns to a random person, you'll probably have to spend 5 minutes explaining to them that he's basically the new John Cena. This feud right now is the most important story that WWE is about to tell in a very long time, and I'll tell you why. This whole project centered around Roman Reigns has been about elevating him and him becoming the face of WWE. At SummerSlam, Cena and Roman are set to face off, and this match needs to be a definitive passing of the torch. You have so many eyes on this right now. It needs to be a showcase that Roman Reigns has come so much further than he was in 2017. It needs to be the opportunity to show the outside world Roman Reigns has amazing talent and he is equivalent to John Cena. In the weeks leading up, WWE need to use Cena to the best of his abilities to make this feud as memorable as possible. You already know with Cena's return, a ton of interest has come back to WWE, so why not use Cena as an asset to elevate Roman? Once this is all done, Cena's probably gonna leave again to go do a movie, but on the run of his career, Roman Reigns needs to be made into a star. But honestly, if you think about it, the most important part of this feud will come after SummerSlam. We all presume it's gonna be a win for Roman Reigns. Where will Roman take his career after this win? Who is WWE gonna put beside him to create a solid new foundation? Because it just feels a little empty right now. Down below in the comments, I want you to tell me if you were to start a wrestling company today based on physique, marketability, character, promo skills, and in-ring talent, who would you rather take? John Cena or Roman Reigns? The hype for this match is hard to put into words. It feels like a WrestleMania level match. We're seeing two generations collide and it's gonna be amazing. I cannot wait. August 21st cannot come soon enough.